listeners, to another week of Education, the Teachers Talking Terror podcast, where myself, Mike,
and myself, Courtney,
are back to talk about the first official pick off of the Fangoria 101 horror movies you must have seen from 2000 or whatever. We're here to cover, again, we've covered like 8 of them already, but the official first pick is 2000's Ginger Snaps. A very, in my opinion, underrated and underseen werewolf movie starring Emily Perkins and Catherine Isabel and Mimi Rogers. Some people may recognize Mimi Rogers. So, this movie, like I said, kind of a, what's the word? I had the word 5 minutes ago. Gosh, I can't even think of what I was going to say now. That's what I get for trying to hustle. But no, it's a werewolf movie. But it's kind of, and I've seen a lot of werewolf movies. Have you seen a lot of werewolf movies?
No.
Okay. They all, like, werewolf, when you get into these monsters, like these classic monsters, like a Dracula, or vampire, we'll just extend it to vampires, werewolves, Frankenstein's monster in particular. Like, I feel like your story is trapped a little bit. As if you choose to adhere to the rules of what you're doing. Okay. Vampires can't be out during the day. Vampires can't enter your home without permission. Vampires, garlic and crosses. Like, there's obviously some safeguards. And werewolves are the same way. They happen, on every full moon once a month. They can only be killed by silver. You've got wolfsbane. So there's mythology that goes along with these monsters and the stories. And I think because of that, your ability to be creative within these story elements are restricted because of the rules that precede your story. I think Ginger Snaps found a pretty cool twist on the story that really allowed our filmmakers to have some fun with it. Story, of course, is 2 sisters, the Fitzgerald sisters. They're outsiders.
Most definitely.
Which, realistically, are they? Like, apparently this high school only has about 8 kids in it.
Right, yeah. They're just outsiders of the popular ones.
Yeah, it's like it's fun because obviously when you're on a tight budget, you only cast what you can afford to cast. And so, there only appears to be like a dozen kids that go to this high school. And so, and no rules, apparently. Anybody can go to anybody's practice. Yeah. Adults can roll up and sell drugs at your football practice. Like, it doesn't matter. But these 2 sisters are unique in that they're infatuated with death.
Yeah, actually, okay, backtrack just a little bit. I thought that the one sister, Bridget, on the cover of this, I thought she was a boy.
Fair enough. I could see it.
And I did not realize, like, that she was a girl. Like, she's walking out of the garage in the beginning. Like, you've got that dog mutilated.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, this boy.
Yeah. No, I could see it. Yeah, I scrolled up and looked. Yeah, I could definitely see that from the poster art. She's got kind of a long face.
Yeah. And
she's thin, so she's got like a pronounced jawline a little bit. Yeah, I could see that. Not real soft features on her face.
Right.
And let's not kid ourselves. Like, this poster is pretty terrible.
Yeah, it is.
But it's a low budget film, so it is what it is. And so, we are in whatever town they live in. It doesn't matter. Suburb USA. And there has been this string of murdered dogs. And we don't know why. We don't ever see it. And then we meet the Fitzgerald sisters because the most recent dog killing has been in their neighborhood. And these 2 girls, like I said, absolutely fascinated with death. And they're super creative too.
They are.
Yeah. They really get a kick out of staging extreme death scenes and then photographing them. And so run over by a lawnmower, run over by the car, impaled on a fence. Like, and their parents, their mom especially, the dad's completely oblivious. Mom is supportive of them, understands they're different, but they're women. They're my little girls. Like that's.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we find out that they have a pact because they are each other's best friend.
Yeah.
Neither one of them are. They're both prepubescent, but they're not by much.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so they have this pact with each other that they will either they'll either move out of the suburbs by the age of 16
Okay, good luck.
or commit double suicide.
Yeah.
Like that's how much they hate living in the suburbs, which is kind of fun because like these two girls are outcasts in their suburb, but it's like, honeys, it's not better anywhere else. Like,
right, like you're just gonna leave this suburb and go to a different one.
But when you're under the age of 16, you think wherever I'm living is the worst place ever.
Yep.
And so they've got the popular girl at school, bullies them because they're different, and so they have this plan that they're going to go kidnap her dog. Because again, there's been all these dog killings that basically like, let's go get her dog and like just leave it as bait, basically.
Right. And so such an unfortunate night. Like, yeah, man, Mom you had mentioned like they're prepubescent, and Mom is very concerned about that. Like no one else. No, she's like, you're 3 years too late. Like, yeah. Okay, they're not even 16. Like,
and Mom's pretty quirky too.
Slow the roll. Yeah.
Mom's very quirky.
Poor Ginger. They're kidnapping this dog, and she gets her first period.
Or she calls it the curse.
The curse.
I got the curse.
She got the curse.
Starts her period. Now, like we stated, this is a werewolf movie. Werewolves must eat. Yeah. And so here we have a situation where poor Ginger starts her menstrual cycle while they're out trying to bait something, which of course we know is a werewolf. Right. And so it attacks her because it smells the blood. Mm-hmm. So she gets attacked and mauled by this werewolf. Now, not to death. Right. Like big scratch. Like it's just enough to know she's been attacked, but not enough to kill her. And it takes off. I think Bridget like had a Polaroid camera. Takes a picture of it, which of course the flash of the Polaroid scared it away. It runs off as it's running across the street, which we see it in full display. Yes. We now know this is a werewolf. Yeah. Like the characters in the movie don't really know what's going on yet, but as a viewer, we see the werewolf. It's not something in the shadows. We see it. And this werewolf gets pulverized by Sam.
Who is the local drug dealer?
Yeah, it's running across the street and just gets nailed, T-boned by Sam, who's, smoking it up as he's driving, which granted, it doesn't matter if you're sober or not. This werewolf come out of nowhere. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, Sam hits the werewolf. That's the end of the werewolf. But Ginger is still like hyperventilating. Bridget wants to take her to the hospital, and Ginger's like, there's no need. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm starting to heal.
Which, as a person knowing of the folklore a little bit, you've been like you do have the curse. You
really do have the curse. Yeah.
Now there is a little bit of a glitch here. I think. Let me. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If you're listening, and drop it in the comments if I'm wrong. I'm under the understanding, and maybe it's just a vampire thing, that if the monster that turns you dies, you are released from that curse. That might just be a vampire thing, though. Okay. So when that werewolf infected Ginger, when it infected Ginger and then gets hit by the van, Ginger, therefore, would have been released from the werewolf curse, but not necessarily the wounds. So in theory, she could have and should have died, but that just might be a vampire thing. So Ginger's a werewolf. Like we don't see it right away, but there's signs. She gets but again, here's the thing. You, of course, are a woman. I, of course, am not. Where I think this movie gets super creative and super cool is aligning her transformation of being a werewolf with the transformation of puberty and
Yeah.
lining those up to where, like, it's almost this allegory. There's the word I needed earlier. Allegory. It's this allegory of like, yeah, like this once a month thing that women go through is like this movie saying it's the equivalent of being a werewolf. Like,
I mean, it is. We do everything but sprout a tail. Like,
hormones everywhere and aggressive nature and
yeah.
I was like, and so again, I saw this movie. I mean, it came out in 2000, 2001 was kind of when it hit like big distribution. So I did see this movie quite a while ago. And even then I was like, touche, like this is a creative spin on the werewolf tale.
Yes.
Of like this, because she was infected on her menstruation date, it's like, it's almost like clockwork of like, instead of it being a full moon, it's going to be she can wolf out during her week, during your Red Ribbon Week or Arts and Crafts Week, or however you want to, Shark Week or whatever you want to call it. And so I just thought that was just a really kind of cool tie-in to be like, how can we, because again, as a woman, there's probably parts of this you go watch and be like, oh, I know how you feel. And so yeah, she's evolving. Her behavior is more aggressive. Again, her scars are starting to grow hair. She does have this cool little like tail she's sprouting at the base of her, but I love the fact that all the effects in this are practical as well. Like, there's no CGI. It's all, we're going to do this with latex and rubber. And so Bridget picks up right away, like, Ginger, there's something wrong with you. And of course, being married to my wife and having a daughter, there's nothing that goes over better than telling a woman there's something wrong.
Yeah.
Nothing. No, because every time I've ever said, I think there's something wrong. It's
exactly what we want to hear.
Yeah. It's always this, you know what, honey? I believe you're right. Let's sit down and have a calm dialogue about what you perceive as different. No.
Especially that time of the month. Like,
yeah, exactly. So
tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah. Instead, it's just doubling down on the evidence of like, are you feeling okay? Things aren't normal. And what do you mean? Like that. That's exactly what I mean. But yeah, those facts, and that's one of the frustrations of being a guy too, is when you are in a relationship with a female who is going through her cycle, it's like a Jekyll and Hyde routine. Whatever, it's like Vegas. Whatever happens that week, don't talk about it. Like, don't bring it up to me later. And it's hard. It's like, I don't envy, I empathize, with womanhood and all of those changes, but it's hard being a guy during those weeks too.
Oh, I can imagine.
And I'm not saying pat us on the back because we deserve credit, but
you guys want some of the chocolate too.
What's that?
Like, I feel like you guys deserve, like, everyone's like, give a woman chocolate during that.
Yeah, I get
you just want a couple pieces of chocolate too.
Yeah,
like,
because,
you want,
because even though we pretty much know which week is going to be like minefield week, it doesn't make it any easier. Because even if we choose not to navigate that minefield, we get in trouble for that too.
Yeah. Yep.
And so we just bite our knuckle and get through the week. So that's what Bridget is dealing with Ginger. Ginger is everything that comes along with puberty seems to happen to her this week.
Yeah.
Including really being interested in sex.
Yeah. Like, it's the only thing she can think about.
For the first time ever. Now, I don't think, nor do I know if that is a common thing, but in this movie it is. At least in Canada. Menstruation means that you want to have unprotected sex. So she does. She ends up, because again, as Bridget is transforming, and I think the filmmakers did a really nice job of this too. Early in the movie, both girls are just layered up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, she does. She hits that quote unquote glow up for sure.
They are hair's ratty. They're layered up. They're just amorphous piles of clothing. which, as we soon find out, underneath all of that, Catherine Isabel, the actress, is very fit.
Yeah.
And so when it's time for her to be a wolf, a quote unquote werewolf, like all she has to do is take the layers off because she's got the figure that's going to get the attention. So that's kind of fun too, is almost like you don't see that in horror movies. If a woman has boobs, you see them. They're popped out there in front of you, whether it's in the flesh or cleavage or like every horror movie seems to be really defining the shape of the woman. And in this movie, it's like, no, we're going to pile her on in clothes and then reveal them when we need to.
Yes.
So yeah, Ginger, she hooks up with another kind of bully classmate, but this guy is definitely a loser in terms of
I would say,
terms of any woman that gives me attention, I'm throwing at her. So.
He is definitely like that prepubescent, post-pubescent, like teenage guy. Like,
yeah.
Hit me up.
Yeah, and so so Bridget and Ginger are. Bridget's trying to get Ginger to at least acknowledge things are changing, and she won't do it, despite her behavior. She's now doing drugs, and it's scary to see your sister do those things. She gets into a fight with Trina, the bully from before. It's only when she kills a neighbor's dog.
Yeah, poor Norman. Yeah. This little ankle biter has been barking the entire movie.
Pretty much. Even when he's not in the scene, you can hear him barking.
You still hear him like, "Shut up, Norman!"
Right?
Like,
yeah. And so
my gosh,
he's. It's just a matter of time before he's gone.
Yeah. But finally.
Yeah. So it's when Ginger devours Norman. That's when she finally acknowledges to Bridget, I'm sick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because at first she was like, I thought all I wanted to do was sleep with somebody, but now all I want to do is tear someone apart.
Right. And while constantly telling her sister, you're just jealous. Mm-hmm. You're jealous of me because I started my period and you haven't. So I could get where Ginger's coming from too. If Bridget's actually looking out for her, no, there's something wrong. Yeah. It's like, what do you know? You're just jealous because I'm in a different spot now. So it's like I said, it's after Ginger destroys Norman, which I think is a fair description of what she did. They don't slack on the gore in this movie either.
No, they don't. No, you've got the entire inside of a dog laying next to the dog.
And so that's when Ginger, as she's vomiting up blood, but she's got werewolf claws and whatever, she's just like, Bridget, I need help. So Bridget turns and forms a friendship with Sam, the drug dealer from before, because again, she knew that he hit the original werewolf, and when she talks to him, he actually knows about werewolves.
Yeah,
he's pretty knowledgeable, as is the case, because I think here in town, our most prominent drug dealer is probably the smartest person in town. This guy is, he never smokes his own stock. He's purely in it for other people's pleasure.
Right.
So they kind of strike out as Ginger's playing it out of she's trying to play it I'm the one that's cursed. Help me battle my curse. And so it's this is where we get all the rules of a werewolf movie.
Right. Well, yeah. We're getting the silver navel, belly button piercing.
Werewolves can't handle silver. Well, okay. Well, and again, now we're at the point Ginger's on board too. So she's no longer, Bridget and Ginger aren't fighting. They're on the same team of trying to get ahead of this curse before she strikes again. So we try piercing her, like you said, piercing her belly button with a silver ring. Sam's maybe if you give her an injection of monkshood, otherwise known as wolfsbane, because according to folklore, that will cure a werewolf. Yeah. You could do that. It's okay. Yeah. But of course, they can't find it anywhere.
They did though. When they did find it, I feel like, am I jumping ahead or is this
a little bit? Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, okay, all right. I'll
no, you're all right.
I was gonna say I feel like I will just go ahead and jump ahead. Yeah, when they found it, the guy she had slept with had started turning as well.
Right. Yeah. That we kind of got his little side plot of. Apparently werewolf is now an STD.
Yeah, you just sleep with someone and get it.
Yeah, and it's that seems to be a lot more fun than attacking someone.
Yeah, thankfully, the wolfsbane worked with
Right.
him.
Yeah, because he needed to try it on somebody. That might be the only scene in this movie that I really don't like. It just seemed very, very amateur when Bridget's walking around with the syringe of wolfsbane, and then Jason kind of attacks her. You know, they're right there in like the middle of broad daylight, out there in the middle of a field. He attacks her, and then like she stabs him and injects him before he could really do anything, and then he's fine. It just felt like the directors forgot to film that scene.
It's like, oh shoot, we got to get this back in there.
Yeah, because the lighting was all like, it just, that whole scene just visually didn't feel like it fit. Right. The lighting was weird. It felt very rushed. And so, yeah, back to Ginger and Bridget. You know, Trina shows up at the Fitzgerald's house because her dog's gone.
Yeah, and who else to blame except the girl that...
Yeah.
I mean, because she beat Trina up.
Right.
A little earlier in the movie for being a jerk.
Yeah.
So...
Which was fair.
Yes. So you obviously took my dog.
Well, and it's not that it's important to note, but like Trina has a crush on Sam, the drug dealer, because again, there's only 12 people that live in this town. So they keep the relationships real tight. So yeah, Trina's in the house. Ginger and Bridget, like they're all fighting each other, just kind of yelling at each other. Trina then like slips and very, very hard hits her head on the granite countertop on the way down. It looked like it hurt. Like
it did. And
that kills her like instantly. And so this is in their house. They know their parents are on their way home. So naturally they're like, well, what are we going to do? Well, they stash the body in the freezer. They stage another death scene with Trina's blood everywhere.
I know. And when she's like, it's corn syrup, Daddy, want to try it? I'm like, don't.
And you know, Ginger's like drinking her blood there.
Yeah.
So as they're hiding the body, though, a couple of fingers of Trina's break off. It doesn't seem like it's going to be a big deal, but it is. They don't know where those fingers are, but they're like, whatever, we got to stash this body. So yeah, this is where you were with Mom, who is a little spacey.
Mom, who is just mom.
Mom, yeah. She's decorating for Halloween, and this is where she pulls out. She's been to Hobby Lobby and pulls out the dried monk's hood that she's going to hang up, which thankfully they found some.
Yes.
So Bridget steals the monk's hood, takes it to Sam. Again, all of this is you have to help cure me.
Yeah.
Because she's leaving Ginger out of it. You got to help cure me. So he's like, well, we got to try to see if it works. Of course, this is also when Sam's like, yeah, it's not you. Like, I know it's Ginger. It's not you.
Yeah.
Because, again, I've seen her around town. She's smoking hot. Like, that's... like,
yeah, exactly. You're not. I know.
Yeah, it's like, you know, she's the one going through changes. And so we get... this is where we get the attack from Jason.
Yes.
Which then she injects him, and he instantly is like, he's...
Like, what just happened?
Instantly cured.
Yeah.
So Ginger has now really struck out. Like, she can't contain herself.
Yeah, she's going after, I mean, the guidance counselor. She just mauls him, annihilates him.
Yeah. The janitor at school, too.
That poor janitor. He seemed so sweet.
He did seem like a sweet guy.
She had issues with him the whole time, and I'm just like, no, he seems so nice.
Yeah, he's a goner. And so Ginger then revealed, because now Ginger's almost enjoying it. Like, she's really leaned into it because she hasn't got a cure yet. She's really like, it's the wolf / puberty taking over her decision making right now. And she basically tells Bridget that I'm going, Sam's next. I don't like the way he looks at you. I don't like, you know, like, you're my sister. I'm going after Sam, which naturally he's hosting a Halloween party.
Of course. Thank goodness.
At his greenhouse grow house.
Yeah.
Mom, I love Mom. I love the mom character.
She is.
She comes across the fingers in the yard.
And And I like how she's like, oh, they're probably just part of one of their, death
Right.
poses.
And this scene with mom seems really busted, but I do like it because mom knows her daughters are off. She knows her daughters are unique and strange. And she agrees to take Bridget to, because Bridget can't drive, Ginger can't either, but she's going to take Bridget to that party. But also knows, because I know what's going on. And Bridget's like, you do? Yeah, I do. And I'll let you know that you girls matter to me. And I will do anything we have to get rid of that body, even if it means burning the house down with your dad in it. Like,
because your dad's not going to go along with
right.
it.
So mom is totally like, you're my daughters. I must protect you. I must help you grow. And if that means we kill your father when we burn the house down, I'm willing to do that for you girls. It's almost like mom was looking for an out. Like,
yeah,
we should. What do you think, Bridge? What do you think? Should we just go ahead and burn the house down while dad's asleep? Should we go and do that, Bridget? No, mom. I have an idea. Well, or what do you think we should do then? Should we just, like, why does everything have to involve killing dad?
Right.
And so so mom's on board with, let's do this, whatever we got to do. Well, they abandon mom, which I think is good because mom's been a secondary character this whole movie. Like, I'm glad she got her scene, but she doesn't need to be in the conclusion. Ginger feels her transformation coming on. All right. And Sam knocks her out with a shovel at the party. And we gotta get Ginger cured. So Ginger is knocked out. Bridget and Sam take Ginger home to get her ready for the cure. However, what happens on the way home?
Ginger is now fully, werewolf, full werewolf.
Yeah.
And she escapes. So they, Sam and Bridget, head back to the house because Bridget's like, she's coming here. She knows I'm here. Let's just head back there. And they're hiding. And Sam's making the cure.
Right. Which he probably should have had that ready.
Right. If you're going to go corner her, come on.
Oh, well.
But Sam goes to, like, inject her and Ginger mutilates him.
Oh, yeah. Like, rips him apart. Like all the dogs have been done.
Then Bridget heads out, and when she finds, like, she starts drinking his blood, like, oh, I'm gonna save him, and I'm gonna, I'll calm you down, Ginger. Just take a minute.
Because she didn't kill Sam yet.
Yes.
Like, she attacked him. She did mutilate him, but he was still left alive. And now we know he's turned.
Yes.
He's got that. He's got that in him.
But Ginger is like, no, Bridget, like, you're not all in it.
Yeah. I don't.
And
yeah.
So she just kills Sam.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She's like, you're choosing him over me.
Right. Right there.
And it was supposed to be us.
Right. Which, of course, now that she's full werewolf, she's not speaking.
Right.
It's all just, which I think it's still very darkly lit, but they did a good job of, like, lighting the wolf's face to where you could almost read the emotions and decisions coming out.
Yes. So Ginger's now chasing Bridget.
Right.
You get back to the room where, we've got flashbacks of, like, where they're growing up and stuff. And Bridget is holding a syringe of the stuff in one hand and a knife in the other. And Ginger lunges at her and kills herself.
Right.
Landing on the knife.
Yeah. I think she lunged to kill her. Because, again, they had this prompt and Bridget even drops on her. Like, I don't remember all of it. Basically, like, or Dead by 16. Like, if we're doing this together. We're going out together.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, full on wolf Ginger, like you said, ends up dying, and that's how the movie ends. Is Bridget lays there with her dying sister,
Yeah,
and just kind of lays there as she's taking her last breath, and that's the movie. This is a
yep.
series. I think there's three of them. I think there's three Ginger Snaps movies.
Okay.
The second one, if I remember correctly, um, okay, no, there's three of them. Yeah. The second one is just a sequel. I've not seen it. Um, and it stars the Bridget actress. I think they're both in it. But then the third one is a prequel.
Okay.
Starring both of them again. But it like takes place in like the 1800s. Yeah. So I don't know, and I haven't seen either one. I don't know enough about them, but there are three movies that are out in the Ginger Snaps filmography. But yeah, that's Ginger Snaps. That's Ginger Snaps. You don't see many werewolf movies anymore that aren't
No, you
just
don't.
that aren't just straight like Wolfman stories,
Yeah.
So it is nice to see a werewolf movie in a little different light, because they do it with vampire movies all the time. Like not every vampire movie is a Dracula movie,
Exactly.
But it's nice to see that with a werewolf. So, what do you rate this thing? What do you grade it?
I'm giving this a B plus.
Okay, that's fair.
A B plus. It had the gore, but it just kind of.
It wasn't scary.
It wasn't scary.
No, it was just it was a horror
it's definitely
story.
the horror version. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a horror film, but yeah, it's not a scary movie. It's a horror film. And I do think a lot of people mix those up. But as the more and more episodes,
I like the scary horror movies.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, by the way, did you know that this is episode 100?
Wow.
Yeah. This is episode 100 that we're recording right now. And so, yeah, in our 100 movies that we've covered, actually, it's more than 100 movies when you factor in the 2 Octobers.
Right.
But there is definitely a difference between a horror film and a scary movie. Now, sometimes they align. Okay. I think, well, by default, like most scary movies are also horror films.
Yes.
There are scary movies that are not horror films.
Right.
That like Contagion is one that comes to mind, a movie about a pandemic that I had seen before, but took on a whole new meaning when my wife and I watched it during COVID. Crazy scary in terms of this is what we're actually living in right now. But it's not a horror film. It's just drama. And so B plus for you. I think that's fair. I'll give it a B plus. I like the independent film feel of it. I think that gave them an avenue of we can make what we want. We don't really have to worry about a major studio calling the shots. I like the dedication to practical effects. As a guy who grew up on 80s films where there was no CGI and everything was done right in front of the camera, I appreciate that. So I think a B plus is fair. Plus it spawned 2 sequels that honestly, with them having a lot of the same cast, like I think both of these actresses did a fine job. I did read in the trivia that even though Ginger is the older sister in this movie, I think the actress is 3 years younger than Emily Perkins. And even I will fully admit, when I saw this when it come out, I had a pretty big crush on Catherine Isabel after this movie. It was like, yeah, I could see why. She's a smoke show. But truth to her, like she also is very dedicated to. She will not she has no nude scenes in any movie at all. She was in a Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street collaboration, Freddy versus Jason, which her body double was nude a couple of times in that movie, but it was never her. And she's just adamant, no, I'm not doing that in front of the camera. So kudos to you that you can survive in a horror film. Like you can make a living in the horror industry as a female without having to demonstrate the goods. So, all right. What character did you relate to most in this one?
Honestly, I'm gonna say I'm gonna go with the mom, just because I'm not gonna be like covering any murders for people, but I do.
Which you'd offer.
I do feel like I just, even though some of my friends are different in their own ways, like I am too, but I still just love them, and I am definitely that quirky like
Mhm.
friend in the group, as just like mom was.
Right.
So
That's fair.
I like mom.
Um, I don't know. I really don't know. I would say Sam, but not all of Sam.
Yeah.
Because like I don't mess with drugs. Like that's I like that side of Sam I would say no.
Yeah.
But I working in education as long as I have I have forged friendships with females without any sort of
Mm-hmm.
interest or sexual relations at all. So
Right.
like Sam was he was despite Ginger thinking he was wanting to hook up with Bridget,
Right.
he didn't. Like he
He
was
just
just
wanted
that
to
good guy
help.
that's like, hey, you need help and I want to help you. So
Mm-hmm.
I'd say probably Sam, because really the amount of boys in this movie for me to pick from are pretty slim. It's
Right.
either Sam, Jason, or Dad.
Yeah.
And with girls, it's either Bridget, Ginger, Mom, or Trina.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, like I said, very, very
Yeah.
small cast. Maybe the fat kid in the hockey getup. I don't know. But yeah, that's Ginger Snaps. Well, I'm glad that you enjoyed it, because um, we had some real duds on the scratch off poster,
Yes,
and
we did.
this is off to a good start. Shuffle week, you said, right?
Yes, it's shuffle week.
All right, shuffle week it is. Let's see if when I hit shuffle, what pops up. Oh, I'm so excited. Do you remember recently, within the last couple of weeks, I talked about a
Oh
Quentin
man.
Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez. I talked about like Grindhouse films
Mm-hmm.
and how there was, that they had made a Grindhouse. It was when we were Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Okay, and how Thanksgiving was
Yeah.
a commercial as part of it was the
Yes.
okay. Well, the movie we shuffled across was the Robert Rodriguez side of that, called Planet Terror.
Okay.
Okay, so our shuffle for next week is going to be Planet Terror, directed by Robert Rodriguez. um, Synopsis real quick: two doctors find their graveyard shift inundated with townspeople ravaged by sores. Among the wounded is Cherry Darling, a dancer whose leg was ripped off from her body. As the invalids quickly become enraged aggressors, Cherry and her ex-boyfriend El Rey lead a team of accidental warriors into the night. Starring Rose McGowan, Freddie Rodriguez, Marley Shelton, Josh Brolin, Michael Biehn, Bruce Willis, Fergie from the Fergie from the Black Eyed Peas is in this movie. Um, this is a fun movie. This will be a horror film. This is not a scary movie, um, but there is a lot of gore in this movie, a lot of gross gore in this movie. So I think you'll be right up your alley with that one. So next week we will be talking about Planet Terror. I do. This is a fun movie. So we've got Christmas coming up in just a couple of weeks.
Oh yes.
3 weeks from today, to be exact.
Don't remind me.
Why?
Cause this is like the most stressful like 2 weeks. Like of school. It's just everything that has to be
I get
done
it. Right.
there.
It's such a weird time where, because Thanksgiving and Christmas are so close together,
Yes.
like the week of Thanksgiving is a nightmare.
Yeah.
And then you come back for literally like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's just a nightmare again.
And they're honestly like a waste, because the
Yeah.
kids know that Christmas is coming. And so like all they want to do is talk about their elves at home.
Right.
Which is fine, but then they're like, it's Christmas, it's Christmas, it's
Right.
Christmas. Oh!
Well,
and it's like,
it's
we still have stuff to do.
It's definitely tougher at the elementary level.
100%.
Having taught at the high school, it's like, the semester's wrapping up, so
Yeah.
it's finals and project. It's like there's there's stuff, but still, it's no different. The kids are completely checked out. It's really hard to wrangle them
They
in.
are.
And so good luck.
Thanks.
Over here. We got 2.5 weeks. Two and a half weeks of school. And
kindergarten is in charge of the powwow and all, like, that's just extra added.
So what is your powwow theme? Christmas?
Friendship.
Yeah,
which it's cute when they're kindergarten. Like, we'll just sing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, you know, make it little antlers and stuff like that. But it's also just like, okay.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hands to cut out.
And they're not good at cutting yet.
No, they're not.
So
some kids will only have like 6 antlers, but that's okay.
It's okay. They're still cute little reindeer. So, oh, well, episode 100 in the books.
Yay.
You want to do another 100?
Sure.
All right, let's try to let's start with 1 and we'll see where we go from
there.
Yeah. Social media, you guys can find us Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. YouTube if you're listening, Spotify if you're not. You know, you can find us anywhere you download your podcast. But give us a like and a follow, subscribe, all that fun stuff. We are pumping out shorts of each episode, so if you want to microdose what we're doing here, you could definitely do that to get a vibe of, do I want to listen to this full episode? Who knows? The answer was yes on Dracula, as you guys have been devouring that one. And what was last week's episode? I forget.
It was your pick.
Oh, Oddity.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a really good movie.
It was.
Not so much. We don't have a lot of traction there, but that's okay. That's okay.
People don't want it to be ruined.
Well, they're microdosing. They are microdosing that episode though. Shorts wise, over 1,000 views. Actual full length 7. So it's okay. People like the microdose. But we will be back next week to kick off the next 100 episodes when we talk about Robert Rodriguez's Planet Terror. For another episode of Deducation, I'm Mike.
And I'm Courtney.
And we'll see you guys then.
Bye.